memorizing, rereading, and also rewatching your lecture or study material. We often use that kind of techniques in order to make sure that we want to make a progress in our study sessions. But in reality, those techniques are holding us back from the scratch. We feel that we make a progress, but actually it isn't. Memorizing makes us feeling we are capable of understanding the materials. But the reality, we only depend on certain vocabularies that comes from the book, that comes from your note. But when the word is changed, when the sentence is completely changed, but it's actually the meaning is same, you forget it at all. So rereading your notes, you feel that you already made a progress, but actually you just only rely on familiarity. You don't even care about your understanding through the related material. Rewatching your videos, rewatching your materials back again. This is same with rereading. You only depend on familiarity, but you don't realize that you don't even understand anything. So the key is that you need to have the depth understanding about what you want to study, and we got to change. So the biggest step you can actually take is adopting and changing your study techniques and make it effective and efficient. And there's a questions appear. What is the effective study techniques? And there's a lot of techniques that we can adopt. But I personally think that this method is actually one of the best study techniques that you can adapt to your study sessions. And that's active recall. So, what's actually the active recall is? Is that the best techniques ever? Is there's no other techniques that are really effective rather than this active recall? Well, I personally think that this techniques is one of the best techniques that I've ever adopted to my study sessions. So let's start with the definitions. What's actually the definitions of the active recall study technique? Well, active recall basically is actually the activities which we need to retrieve our informations that we already learned in the previous time. So whenever we start studying and we read some sentences or we read some definitions of something, let's say we read some informations about the D-Day operations in World War II. And after that, the thing is that we need to retell it again. After you put the informations get inside your head, you need to retrieve it again. You need to put it out again so that the informations will stay longer in your head. The best thing is that these techniques is putting the understanding of our study materials in the first place. So even though we are not knowing about the sentences that are written in our book, we don't really have the familiarity with the materials, but as long as you understand about the things that you want to retell, then you'll save. You can always be able to retell it whenever you want. And that's why this understanding, this role of understanding is really crucial in your study sessions. Because if you're adopting these techniques, then you need to understand the materials rather than rely on familiarity or maybe ironically memorizing all the materials. You need to understand it first. So that's the thing. So why this techniques is really worth to me? So I think the first things that I'm pretty sure that this is really works is that it's about the understanding. So whenever we start adopting the active recall, whenever we start studying about something, we actually retrieving the information. So after we put the information inside our head, we need to put it off again. We need to retrieve it again so that the information will stick longer in your head, and you will always remember about the information that you already learned, because you always retrieve the information. So it will sharpening and also strengthening the informations inside your head. So the informations will get into the long-term memory because you always retrieve it, and of course you retrieve it with a different forms. And that's the points of the number 2, is that it unlock the skills of critical thinking. So basically the critical thinking is that we can be able to think hardly about the sentences or maybe the vocabulary that are related to the materials that we want to retell, so that we can be able to make the fully sentence that are easily to understand for the other people. And of course that's the form of teaching or maybe retelling the informations that you already got, or maybe basically you just retell or rephrasing your informations just by yourself. And this is really great because you did that in different forms. So basically you do that thing, you always telling the new story with the same materials with the same study materials, but in the different ways of telling the stories. The first one you maybe teach to someone about the materials, but the second one is you actually just retelling the story to your friends about those materials. Or maybe the third point is actually you just recording yourself explaining about the materials. And those different ways and those different forms of active recall, it actually makes your information takes longer. And you cannot be able to do this if you don't understand about the materials. So back again, the first crucial point of this study technique is actually your understanding. If you don't understand about the materials, you cannot be able to retell about the informations that you learned, because you don't understand at all. That's why your understanding plays an important role in this case. And the third benefits or the importance of the active recall is actually we are trying to questioning about this about the things that we don't understand at all. So after questioning about the things, so we make the list of questions. So the first one is actually the questions: what's actually the meaning of this, why this is works, or maybe how to do that, and a lot of form of questions that we may create. And those questions, we need to find the answers of those questions. We basically find the materials that we can be able to make it as an answers to answering those questions that we already made. And this form of questioning and answering the questions of our curiosity is one of the part of active recall, and that's why it will also make your information takes longer, because you answering your own curiosity, and this is important. And yeah, that's why. And next we move into the applications of this study technique. So this is pretty simple, so yeah, we need to make it simple so we don't feel bored when we are doing these active recalls, because it's really simple. So these are the ways to apply the active recall study technique. So let's start from the first one, which is it's actually start questioning about the materials that you are learning. So basically, whenever you want to learn something new, like for example, if you want to learn the simple present tense in English language, then you might have curiosity feelings like what exactly the simple present tense is, how to use it in a daily life, what's the formula, is that using the verb 1 or the verb 2. And those questions is actually the example of start questioning about the materials that you want to learn. So you need to make a list for that. You need to make the list for the questions that you already think it of, and then after you already made a list, you need to figure it out the answer one by one. So after you already find the answer and you already know about the informations that you are needed, it's time to move into the second applications, which is retell the materials with your own words. So basically this is really important, this is really crucial for me. The key is that whenever you finish learning about the materials, so basically you pass the first applications, which is start questioning yourself with a lot and tons of questions, and then you already got the informations or the answer for the questions, and then you already got the informations and answers. Then the second thing is that you need to go back to your questions list, try to answer it one by one, and of course without looking the answers that you already found. So basically you just say it out loud, you just make an explanations about the answers just by your own words. And after you do that, it will strengthening your memories about the informations that you want to learn. If you want it more stick in your brain, then you can also be able to write it down the answer of the questions that you already made. And then after you write all the answers without looking for the answers that you already found before, because the basically is that you need to make your brain think harder to find and also figure it out the answers that of course you already learned about that, but you need to retrieve it again without looking for the references that you already made. And that's the idea. Write it down all the answers with your own thinking, and or maybe you can be able to type on laptop. And yeah, the world right now is sophisticated, so you can be able to use the handphone or maybe laptop and any other device that also support your study systems. After you've done the second application, and we can move to the third applications, which is start quizzing about the materials. After you already learned about the simple present tense, and then the tomorrow is coming, and then you want to learn the simple present tense again just to make it stick. But rather than just immediately go to the materials, you are better if you start quizzing about yourself. So actually asking about yourselves, I personally use ChatGPT for these applications. We ask ChatGPT to make some maybe 10 or 15 questions before we start learning about the simple present tense again. And ChatGPT will make those 15 questions that we asked to it. After the questions is already made by ChatGPT, you can be able to answering that one by one. Well, maybe ChatGPT will say the first question is that what's the definition of the simple present tense, and yeah, of course you answer it. The simple present tense is actually the tense that express the habits or the routines, or just want to express your idea and many other things. And try to figure it out the answer with your own thinking. And yeah, just go back with the second applications, which is retell the answer. And yeah, that's really great. I think those are the applications that I can share to you, because those three applications is actually already adopted in my study systems. It makes me more understand deeply about the materials and more likely to remember it in the long term. So that's why. So yeah, I think that's the importance of the active recall. So you know guys, so basically the college systems is actually harder rather than the senior high school time, which is the materials is a lot harder, so that we need to change our study technique. Maybe in the past we can be able to memorize all the things, maybe we can memorize all the materials, maybe we can reread the notes, or maybe we can highlight and also memorize only the answer for each questions that are available in the book. But in college, we cannot be able to do that since the almost all of the test is actually essay. So there's no multiple choices right now, so we can be able to rely on our fortunate skills, and yeah, just rely on fortunate skills is not really that good. So college teach us on how important understanding is. Because of the test is actually all essay without multiple choices, we are forced to make our own sentences and make our own answers. And of course, my result is actually different with my friend's result, because our thinking, our way to think about the materials, about the answers is actually different per person, right? That's why understanding is really important. We better know about how deeply our understanding is by simply applying this active recall technique. I think that's all for me. I hope you guys also learn and also adopt this study technique. It's really great and also beneficial. At least for me, it's also beneficial. So I already adopt this study technique since when I was in the holiday from the senior high school students in last grade, which is I realized on how great this technique is, and I really want to adopt it. And now it's about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 months of applying this technique regularly and also consistently. So yeah, I really feel the benefits, guys. So I hope you guys also feels the benefits of applying this technique. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching till the end. I'm Kurt. See you on the next time. Jane.